Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the NRW Japan Summit 2021 on Cooperation for Innovation, highlighting strategic benchmarks for Germany and Japan. In today's event, we will share views on cooperation as driver for innovation from the perspectives of politics, economics, technology, and science. We are looking forward to the presentations of frontline cooperation projects from companies and institutions in NRW, Germany, and Japan. My name is Georg Löhr. I'm the representative of NRW.Global Business in Japan, with our office located here in Tokyo. And I'm privileged and honored to be your moderator for today's event. At this point, I should like to take the opportunity to express our sincere thanks to all our speakers, presenters, for their participation and the complete organizing team for making this illustrious summit possible. Ladies and gentlemen, the call for cooperation for innovation has been enforced since the last Asia-Pacific Conference of the German Business Associations in 2020, when the topic was especially raised by Mr. Masaki Sakuyama, chairman of Mitsubishi Electric Corporation and co-chairman of the EU-Japan Business Roundtable. For North Rhine-Westphalia, this call is more than welcome and to a considerable extent is already part of real life. Before we now start with the first part of our program, the panel discussion, I would like to just give some guidance on the Zoom functions. You have here the interpretation button, you have a Q&A button, you have a raise hand function, and a chat function. You see for which needs these tools will help you through our seminar. Also in Japanese. The program you have all already received. I will just skip through it right now. And now, before we start with the first part of our program, the panel discussion, I would like to give the floor to Mr. Felix Neugaard, CEO of NRW.Global Business GmbH, for his opening speech on new impulses for reinforcing NRW and Japan business relations. Mr. Neugaard, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Löhr, and a very warm good morning from Düsseldorf. Distinguished panelists, speakers, guests, friends, and partners from Japan and NRW, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to welcome you on behalf of NRW.Global Business, the new trade and investment agency of the German state of North Rhine-Westphalia, or in our short form, NRW. It's a great honor and also, of course, a pleasure for me to open today's programs for our virtual NRW Japan Summit on Cooperation for Innovation, with, let me put it like this, a brief outlook on new impulses for reinforcing our bilateral business relations between NRW and Japan. It's a great pleasure today, especially because this year, 2021, marks the 160th anniversary of our diplomatic relations between Germany and Japan. And this year is definitely a time for celebrating, taking stock. Of course, unfortunately, mostly digital, but it's also a moment to look ahead, to develop, elaborate some new impulses for the economic relations between NRW and Japan. And as most of you know, We have established very close economic ties, at least since the end of World War II. Japanese companies today form not only one of the largest international business communities here in NRW, but they are also a community with a very long tradition and a very high continuity. In fact, as early as 1862, almost 160 years ago, the first delegation from Japan visited the cities of Düsseldorf and Cologne. And since 1946, since the end of World War II, intensive economic relations between NRW and Japan have been established and since then developed at a very high speed and unprecedented pace. From the 1950s onwards, many Japanese companies have recognized NRW, our state, as a strategic location in the heart of Europe and started to settle, to invest, to establish their presence here. Today, Japan is one of the most important economic partners of NRW with a trading volume overall of 7.8 billion euros last year. NRW is the largest business hub for Japanese companies on the European continent. And this means that today more than 650 firms from Japan are employing more than 50,000 people here in NRW. And more than half of these companies present here, they not only run their German business from NRW, but also their European business. And we have a large number of big names from Japan here. Let me just mention Canon, Denso Automotive, Fujifilm, Hitachi, Makita, Mitsubishi Electric, Shimatsu, Toshiba, or Toyota. And most of these big household names have been present in NRW for many, many years. We are very pleased that some of these companies are even participating in the program of our summit today. For instance, the electronics manufacturer Mitsubishi Electric, big presence here in the city of Düsseldorf since 1978, and they have grown a lot since they first set up shop in NRW. Or, to give you a second example, the automotive supplier Denso, which has opened its first global research and development center outside of Japan here in NRW in Aachen, the Denso Aachen Engineering Center in the year 2005. Now let's leave the past and skip to the present, and at least in our view, the attraction of NRW, the attraction to Japanese companies to come here, to invest here, this attraction remains great. Even last year in 2020, despite the corona pandemic. Last year, 2020, we counted a total of 40 new settlements and expansion projects here in NRW with companies from Japan. And this is, in fact, a record number. This is the highest result we had in settlements, in investment from Japan for the last 5 years. And it's an increase of 48%, of almost half in comparison to 2019. This means that over half of all Japanese settlements in Germany come to our state, come to North Rhine-Westphalia. And one of these investments, what I would like to mention to you, is the chemical company Asahi Kasei, which has recently concentrated all of its European activities at a new location in Düsseldorf, in the Medienhafen, a very interesting location in the capital of North Rhine-Westphalia. Asahi Kasei has relocated its European headquarters to Düsseldorf already in 2016, and now it's bundling, it's putting together its sales, marketing, research activities here in order to further strengthen its focus on the European automotive industry. And to give you a second example, our latest addition, also from the automotive sector, is the automotive supplier Marelli, which has established its new production facility for 800-volt electric motors, also, of course, a very future-oriented endeavor. This was established in the city of Cologne. We, as the state-owned trade and investment agency, NRW.Global Business, we support, of course, Japanese companies in their investment projects and settlement in NRW, all the way from the initial contact, this is, of course, Mr. Löhr, to the successful completion here in NRW and even beyond with our program for established companies. And drivers of this successful NRW Japan ties are, on the one hand, our subsidiary, the NRW.Global Business Japan in Tokyo, with Mr. Lohr, of course, and on the other hand, our expert team here in Düsseldorf, Mrs. Becker, Mr. Jansen, which together have been reliable partners for Japanese companies for over 25 years. Probably not personally, but institutionally. However, since the relaunch of our agency in November 2020, when we were established as NRW Global Business, we have been following an even wider purpose. NRW Global Business offers tailor-made services, not only for inbound investments for companies coming from abroad to NRW, but we also support our local SMEs, our local small and medium-sized enterprises here in North Rhine-Westphalia to export and to access growth markets abroad. And we do this with a broad network of international business partners. And in this context, we see a number of areas for new impulses for our relations with Japan, and we build on strong networks which we have established over the last couple of years with many delegation visits and business events that have been organized by us and covered almost all important industrial sectors. Japan, of course, is also, and this is very important, a great market for German companies, and many of these companies, these German companies doing business in Japan, come from NRW. Let me mention a few big names: Bayer, Evonik, Deutsche Post, DHL, Henkel, Lanxess, Miele, Metro, ThyssenKrupp, RWE is just a few examples of large companies doing very good business in Japan. But of course, we have also the famous German Mittelstand, the medium-sized companies, the hidden champions who are not that large, but very successful in international business, like Beckhoff Automation, D-Space, Harting, Egos, Phoenix Contact, and Vago, to mention just a few of these innovative NRW companies being active in Japan. And I'm very pleased that indeed we have the CEOs of two of these companies here in the panel, RWE Renewables and D-Space, Mr. Götzler, Mrs. Dotzenrath, and we will hear from them shortly. We want to build on this very good basis in the future. We aim to strengthen our outbound activities and support further business contacts in cooperation with our networks, our partners in Japan and NRW, like JETRO, the Japanese Foreign Trade Agency, with the German Chamber of Industry and Commerce in Japan, the AHK, with the Japanese Chamber of Commerce and Industry in Düsseldorf, and other associations which are active in the bilateral relations between NRW and Japan. And for this purpose, we built very much on the concept for trade and investment policy that has been laid out by the Ministry of Economics in NRW. And let me welcome also Minister Pinkwart to our session. Welcome, Minister. And this strategy that has been crafted by our colleagues in the ministry that is focused on innovative, sustainable lead markets and innovation topics. And a very important area in this regard is definitely Industry 4.0 or smart manufacturing, where we need to focus or continue to focus. And we see a lot of additional potential in other areas such as smart mobility, new materials, green energy, and of course also in the health and medical sectors. Overall, the Japanese strategy for society 5.0 opens up a perspective and new opportunities for companies from NRW to do business, to be successful, to grow, realize their potential in the Japanese market. In this context, NRW does not only provide options for Japanese companies to do business here, but we also, I think, offer very interesting opportunities to develop new products, to develop new business models in cooperation with our institutions of research and development, which we have here in NRW, and of course we have represented there are WTH Aachen, and of course also in cooperation with local companies here. And in this context, I believe that a very important topic for Japan and NRW is a transition to clean energy and to climate neutrality. And this can only be achieved, of course, if the share of renewable energy sources is increased, such as wind and solar, geothermal energy, and of course now very important also hydrogen is a very key factor for achieving this climate neutrality. And there I think lies a lot of potential for cooperation between companies, between research and development institutions from Japan and NRW. If we can combine our mutual expertise, I think both sides will only benefit. And to deepen our cooperation, to further develop it, we have reached another important milestone end of May, a couple of weeks ago, with the conclusion of a memorandum of understanding for cooperation between NRW and Tokyo Prefecture. This memorandum of understanding was signed by Minister Pinkwart and his colleague from Tokyo Prefecture, and we agreed to give systematic support to small and medium-sized enterprises from Tokyo to come to NRW to set up a foothold here and to establish their offices here. And on the other hand, also for small and medium-sized enterprises coming from NRW interested in the Japanese market. And with this project, I think we did a good step to support the huge number of innovative, interesting, high potential small and medium-sized enterprises which we have in both our countries, and support these companies, we believe, is of growing importance for the economic sustainability of our societies. All in all, I think, and this is my conclusion, we have a lot of new impulses to work together and to further grow our relationship, which, as I said, has a great basis in the past and in the present, but has also a lot of potential to develop in the future. And let us see what we can achieve together when we move from the 160th anniversary to the 170th, the 160th anniversary of diplomatic relations between Germany and Japan. We move to the 170th anniversary next year then of the establishment of contacts between NRW and Japan. Today, we want to support this process with, I think, a very exciting, a very high level, a very compelling program. And I'm looking very much forward to hear the examples of innovation through cooperation, which the companies which are participating in the roundtable, which will start immediately after the keynote by Minister Pinkwart, which the companies are going to present. I wish us all a very good, a very compelling, a very fruitful event. And of course, I sincerely hope that soon we will be able to meet again, also physically face to face. Thank you very much and take care.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Neugaard, for these very strong, vigorous words of support for our activities between Japan and North Rhine-Westphalia. And now I would like to proceed to today's panel discussion. And we have the honor and pleasure to first welcome our keynote speakers from Düsseldorf, the Minister of Economic Affairs, Innovation, Digitalization and Energy of the state of North Rhine-Westphalia, Professor Dr. Andreas Pinkwart. Very nice to see you again, Professor Pinkwart, Herr Minister. And from Tokyo, we have Mr. Noritsugu Uemura, Corporate Executive of Mitsubishi Electric Corporation.
Yeah, dear Mr. Nobutani, dear Mr. Uemura, dear Mr. Neugaard, dear Mr. Löhr, dear distinguished panelists and respected speakers, dear guests and participants from Germany and Japan, ladies and gentlemen, it's a great pleasure to welcome you to the North Rhine-Westphalian Japan Summit 2021 on cooperation in technological research and development for fostering innovation. This year, we celebrate 160 years of German-Japanese friendship because 2021 is an important year for our special and long-term relationship. I deeply regret that I cannot visit Japan in person as originally planned. It would have been great to follow up my memorable visit in October 2018. The COVID-19 pandemic has made traveling almost impossible, but I'm delighted to meet you all today virtually. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to the organizers for making this virtual event possible and putting a lot of effort into each detail. It's great to see how many key representatives of business and academia from Japan and North Rhine-Westphalia joined today, which makes this event even more valuable. Thank you all for coming. Innovation is the driver of economic growth. It helps us to meet the current challenges such as the COVID-19 pandemic, climate change, demographic change, and structural change of the industries, which is especially apparent here in North Rhine-Westphalia, but also in the rest of Germany and Japan. Innovations are essential for staying competitive and keeping up with the pace of the fast-changing market in the globalized world. Only innovations will secure the future of people in Japan, Germany, in North Rhine-Westphalia. However, according to research, in-house innovations of single companies are often not sufficient anymore to create the top-notch innovations that are needed to advance technology and disrupt the market. Teamwork with reliable partners instead of individual efforts is necessary to keep up with sophisticated technologies from our competitors in Silicon Valley, Israel, and in China. Therefore, cooperation in technological research and development becomes a relevant driver for innovations. Cooperation can occur between private businesses in the form of joint ventures, but it can also mean cooperation between private businesses and public institutions like universities and research institutes. Especially among large private entities, cooperation happens naturally. But cooperation between medium-sized enterprises and large businesses, startups or public institutes is more challenging because SMEs often lack networks and resources. It requires a more strategic approach and specific support from local institutions. Also, research and development at universities and research institutes has a high innovative potential. But there are obstacles when transferring those new research-based technologies to the market. After all, researchers are not necessarily entrepreneurs. Therefore, universities and research institutes must be matched with business partners. Furthermore, due to globalization, cooperation with international partners becomes not only more frequent, but also more necessary. Knowledge as a fertilizer of innovations should not be restricted by borders or continents. Therefore, promoting international cooperation becomes essential for mutually beneficial outcomes. Thanks to our long friendship, there are already good connections between businesses and research institutes from Japan and North Rhine-Westphalia. However, we must work harder in order to strengthen these ties. Germany, North Rhine-Westphalia, and Japan are currently leaders in many industrial fields, such as manufacturing, automobile, robotics, and automation. But in order to stay at the top in the global competition, cooperation between our private and public actors is vital. We in North Rhine-Westphalia believe that cooperation in technological research and development, especially with innovative partners from Japan, is fruitful and to the advantage of both sides. Therefore, today I would like to talk about North Rhine-Westphalia's strategic approach to foster innovations through cooperation. But first, let me emphasize the innovative power and potential of North Rhine-Westphalia. Our federal state is a land of innovations. We have a long tradition of entrepreneurial spirit along the rivers Rhine and Ruhr. Many large enterprises are located in the vibrant cities of Cologne and Düsseldorf, which also successfully attract innovative startups from across the world. Cities like Aachen, Bonn, Paderborn, Essen, Bochum, and Dortmund are home to universities and research institutes that are strong in engineering, information technology, or natural sciences, nurturing the entrepreneurial activities in those regions. Moreover, due to the structural change and the phasing out of the steel and coal industry with its large companies, new space for creative, technology-driven startups has been created in the Ruhr area. You see, the state of North Rhine-Westphalia is already an innovative powerhouse. It's the highest density of large companies, startups, hidden champions, universities, and research institutes in all of Germany. However, especially for small and medium-sized enterprises with limited resources, it's challenging to unfold their full innovative potential. Also, the smooth and fast technology transfer from universities to the market remains a major issue. Against this background, my ministry, the Ministry of Economic Affairs, Innovation, Digitization, and Energy, supports numerous statewide networks such as clusters, hubs, competence centers, as well as regional networks and initiatives. All of these contribute to the innovative strengths of North Rhine-Westphalia by bringing together science, business, and society. For instance, our 5D hubs comprise a large network of different actors such as cities and municipalities, chambers of commerce, small, medium, and large corporations, co-working spaces, financial institutions, universities, and business angels, and others with the goal to foster the startup ecosystem and strengthen innovation in North Rhine-Westphalia. The competence platform GAIA.NRW, what means AI, Artificial Intelligence, North Rhine-Westphalia. Our central contact point, it's a Fraunhofer IAIS nearby the city of Bonn, builds a bridge between innovations and entrepreneurship for a smooth technology transfer from science to market. Let me introduce you to more best practices that exemplify our strategic approach. First of all, there's a technology network, it's OWL, it's OWL, which is the acronym for Intelligent Technical Systems of our hidden region of Ostwestfalia-Lippe. It's a region located in the most northeastern part of our state. So it's our famous hidden region with our famous hidden champion. In 2012, its OWL was selected by the federal government of Germany as a leading edge cluster. More than 200 companies, universities, research institutes, and organizations are part of this network, which has a culture, open communication, and cooperation. At the same time, it enables the knowledge spillover and technology transfer among its members. And I remember, as I was former times Minister for Science and Technology in our state, 2007 around, I was glad to win Boeing Company as a partner of our university in Paderborn in the field of 3D printing. So you see a real excellent region which can partner also with big companies around the world. Industry-wise, the network caters a wide spectrum from artificial intelligence to machine learning to digital platform systems, engineering, and work 4.0. Recently, we put a strong emphasis on artificial intelligence initiatives. For instance, the so-called AI marketplace creates a unique ecosystem for companies. Its central feature is a platform where all players involved can share their expertise and collaborate on finding solutions for AI problems. Finally, its OWL seeks to expand the network internationally. also to Japan. They welcome delegations to generate partnerships with their members and provide a platform for exchanging ideas on topical issues. We are proud to financially support its OVL projects and contribute to its growing success. Another best practice example is CENIT. It's Zentrum für Innovation and Technik, which stands for Center for Innovation and Technology in North Rhine-Westphalia. CENIT is a public-private partnership. CENIT supports innovative activities of technology-oriented SMEs, startups, universities, and research institutes, and connects potential partners from business and science for cooperation in various innovation projects. The central goal of CENIT is to help good ideas find their way to the market in order to strengthen the economy in North Rhine-Westphalia. CENIT exploits its extensive network so that SMEs can achieve not only national, but also international success. CENIT offers plenty of opportunities for networking and the exchange of information. You see, its OVL and CENIT are successful catalysts for cooperation in technological research and development and matchmakers between the relevant players. But of course, we cannot rest on these success stories if we want to become a leading location for key technologies like nano and microtechnology, biotechnology, automation technology, and many others that leads the economy of the future. Big data, AI, machine learning, Internet of Things, as well as blockchain technology are vital for the innovation capacity of North Rhine-Westphalia. We have a huge potential to become a key driver of the innovations of tomorrow. But in order to achieve this goal, we must continue to foster cooperation in technological research and development and create the best framework conditions for innovations. Therefore, I would like to give you a preview of what's to come next. In the upcoming months, the new competence center, NRW.Global, will begin its work. It is dedicated to foster the cooperation between businesses, especially SMEs, startups, and universities, and to bring all relevant stakeholders together by building up a new innovation ecosystem in North Rhine-Westphalia. This new initiative demonstrates that we will intensify our previous efforts. Furthermore, the new innovation strategy of North Rhine-Westphalia is currently under the examination of the Federal State Cabinet. It will take a holistic view on the innovative activities in our state and incorporates all of our existing strategies, including our strategy for digitization, for 5G mobile communication, as well as a foreign trade strategy, among others. The guiding principles behind the innovation strategy are specialization and a forward-looking approach. Based on a thorough review process, the strategy selects a few areas with high innovative potential and streamlines existing support programs accordingly. Now let me also talk about the successful cooperation between North Rhine-Westphalia and Japan. As already mentioned by Mr. Neugaard, the relationship between Japan and North Rhine-Westphalia has grown stronger over the years. He established a Japan office of our state-owned trade and investment agency, known today as NRW.Global business in Tokyo in 1992. For almost 30 years, the teams of NRW.Global business at the headquarters in Düsseldorf and in Tokyo have actively supported Japanese businesses to establish a foothold in North Rhine-Westphalia. In addition, they have also supported just as much the cooperation building between relevant actors in North Rhine-Westphalia and Japan. In the future, both will also work stronger on the support of companies in our state on their way to a market entry and business setup in Japan. Today, we are proud to say that North Rhine-Westphalia is home to more than 600 Japanese companies, which means it is the location with most Japanese companies in the European Union. In this special anniversary year, our mutual interest in cooperation is stronger than ever. Just recently, I was happy to sign a memorandum of understanding between North Rhine-Westphalia and the Tokyo Metropolitan Government about the cooperation in supporting SMEs and startups from both locations, as was mentioned by Mr. Neugaard before. The major goal of the Memorandum of Understanding is to enable the cooperation and innovation and joint research activities of small and medium-sized enterprises in Tokyo and North Rhine-Westphalia. In order to achieve this goal, we will build a support network that functions as a matchmaker between SMEs from Tokyo and our state, as well as local companies, startups, universities, and investors. This Memorandum of Understanding is a clear statement for the future. Ladies and gentlemen, we are on a very good way to promote cooperation in technological research and development in order to unfold the innovative potential of the German and Japanese companies in North Rhine-Westphalia and in Japan. However, there's still a lot of work to do and a lot to learn for the future. Therefore, I'm delighted to discuss today's topic and exchange experiences with innovative entrepreneurs, business representatives, and researchers, and hear about the benchmark cases of successful cooperation projects between universities and businesses from North Rhine-Westphalia and Japan. I'm certain that the benchmark cases will show us many possibilities of cooperation in technological research and development and demonstrate the innovative impacts. So I wish us all a pleasant and informative event, and I'm really looking forward to deepen our excellent friendship and partnership. Thank you very much.
Minister Pinkwart, thank you so much for this comprehensive statement, and we are sure that we can further develop the excellent relationships between Japan and North Rhine-Westphalia. Now, let me welcome Mr. Noritsugu Uemura, Corporate Executive, Mitsubishi Electric Corporation, a leading Japanese company with a strong presence in North Rhine-Westphalia, to share with us his keynote address on perspectives on the potential of German-Japanese technological cooperation. Please find the company profile and Mr. Uemura's CV here. And now the floor is yours.
Okay. Good morning to everyone in North Rhine-Westphalia. I am Noritsugu Uemura of Mitsubishi Electric. As the coronavirus pandemic still continues influencing our daily lives worldwide, it is more significant that both Germany and Japan engage in exchange on societal challenges confronting both our countries as well as sustainable growth through such economic forums as today. Therefore, it is a great honor to be able to contribute to this exchange in a forum hosted by North Rhine-Westphalia, Germany's leading business region. Today, I will focus on the potential of cooperation between Germany and Japan. Firstly, please allow me to briefly introduce Mitsubishi Electric. Founded in 1921, so exactly 100 years ago. We are a manufacturer of electric and electronics products and solutions engaged in a broad spectrum of areas ranging from household products like air conditioning all the way to space satellite systems. We are active globally with more than 140,000 employees covering all regions from Europe, America, the Middle East, Africa, and Asia. We have been active in Europe since the 1960s and predominantly served the region with solutions covering from products, industrial automation, and automotive equipment, power semiconductor devices, and more. Please recognize us as a company that contributes via integrated solutions in energy efficiency, IoT, AI, and others to Europe's main regulatory focus areas, digital and green. Next, I will briefly highlight our business to Germany. As you can see, our German branch is located in the state of North Rhine-Westphalia in Ratingen, next to Düsseldorf. Well, actually, I have also worked at this German branch from 1996 till 2002, and my family lived in Meerbusch-Buderich next to Düsseldorf and spent unforgettable, very worthy days. So we started the business from our German branch in 1978 and have been able to steadily expand and grow our business and the portfolio for over 40 years. This is also the result of great contribution by the state government of North Rhine-Westphalia and all the business partners. In 2015, we reinforced our commitment to North Rhine-Westphalia by building our own office, which has highly energy efficiency in Ratingen. Further, it is our utmost priority to also contribute to the local society. We keep the naming rights for Mitsubishi Electric Hall for 10 years, which is located in Düsseldorf, to show our long-term commitment to the local society and have supported its refurbishing. Also, we were honored to receive the North Rhine-Westphalia Investor Award in 2016, which awards the company contributing to the employment and the business expansion in the area. In addition, our annual business plan contest for high school students is receiving great support from Minister Andreas Pinkwart and his ministry, the General Consulate of Japan, and among others. And for this, I would like to express my sincere gratitude. Once the pandemic is over, it will be our pleasure to exchange ideas and views personally with everyone again. We provide mainly air conditioning and automotive equipment, industrial automation solutions, in addition to other segments in our portfolio to Germany, as well as other neighboring countries. I will touch on this again later, but in 2019, a new business segment, HPPS, High Precision Positioning System, was established in Germany and target cooperation with German partners. HPPS will provide solution in using highly advanced satellite positioning technologies. When talking about the potential for cooperation between Germany and Japan, I would like to firstly highlight the relationship between Japan and the EU. The EU-Japan EPA, Economic Partnership Agreement, which came into effect in 2019, has created the world's largest free trade zone, accounting for about 30% of the world's GDP and 40% of the global trade volume. Japan and the EU have also recently signed a Strategic Partnership Agreement, SPA, to promote wide-ranging cooperation on economic security and global issues. As the EU and Japan share common values, such as emphasizing democracy, human rights, and the rule of law, cooperation between these two partners is becoming more and more important in solving global social challenges, such as measures to mitigate climate change. The EU-Japan EP and SPA will serve as a foundation for further strengthening key synergies and also guiding global cooperation. I especially want to stress that two major policy areas, both EU and Japan, of green and digital, are highly intertwined and compatible. I believe that especially an acceleration of the digital will lead to realization of the green goals set forth by both the EU and Japan. Now, looking at the relationship between Germany and Japan, I believe that the potential for the cooperation is equally deep and broad. On the basis of shared values, without saying, Germany and Japan should work together on the challenges of the international community, as discussed in the G7. Both our countries face similar challenges, such as the declining birth rate and an aging population, the need for revitalization of the SMEs, small and medium-sized enterprises, as well as finding solutions to economic and energy-related issues. Based on these similar backgrounds, Germany's Industry 4.0 and Japan's Society 5.0 both aim at concept of smart manufacturing and smart societies, share a common approach and shall be realized by making full use of digital technologies, leveraging industrial data. I will refrain from explaining Industry 4.0 in detail, but Japan's Society 5.0 aims to realize human-centered society that achieves economic development and solves social challenges through the integration of the cyber and the physical space. When talking about digital technology and innovation, these are indispensable in solving social challenges. Through collaboration based on shared values, Germany and Japan can contribute together to solving global social challenges, especially green issues. The innovation is the key to achieving both economic development and solving social challenges. Within the area of digital, free distribution of industrial data is very crucial. Within rapid progress of technological innovation in AI, IoT, the volume of industrial data is increasing explosively. The industrial data will become the source of core competence and accordingly more value. I believe that the free distribution of the industrial data is the key to developing cooperation between Germany and Japan in the digital field. At the G20 Osaka Summit held in June 2019, former Japanese Prime Minister Mr. Abe announced data free flow with trust. In short term, DFFT, it is highly important to smoothly establish the era of DFFT and the various valuable data which currently belong to respective individual companies should be distributed across the boundaries of each company, sector, and national borders. Against such background, Japanese companies are paying close attention to the evolution of the data infrastructure initiative of GAIA-X. As announced by the German and French government in October 2019, to support data distribution while ensuring security and data sovereignty, GAIA-X aims to protect the data, ensure transparency, ensure reliability, and implement an interoperable data distribution platform to create innovation benefiting society while adhering to European rules. Also in Japan, similar movement to build up data linkage platform integrating the fields of industry, government, and academia. The DSA, Data Society Alliance, was established this year to pursue and promote such data linkage foundation with concept called GATA-X. DS is currently aiming to create data usage services and support social implementations. Major Japanese telecommunication carriers such as NTT Communications and industrial companies such as Mitsubishi Electric also join in DSA. And whole Japan aims to build a data linkage platform. As you see here, Germany and Japan are currently working on GAIA-X and GATA-X respectively, and should be expected to lead the era of DFFT by ensuring the interoperability of both platforms. I strongly believe that there is a lot of potential for cooperation between Germany and Japan as global leaders of manufacturing industries in creating rules for such platforms in the digital age. From here onward, I will introduce some concrete example of such a synergetic initiative from the digital field in Germany using Mitsubishi Electric example. Our factory automation business is contributing to the realization of the smart factories using digital technology under the concept of the e-factory as one good example of Society 5.0 pillars. E-factory is our comprehensive factory automation solution that realizes smart manufacturing by supporting total cost reduction of development, production, and maintenance by utilizing FA and IT technology. By collecting and analyzing data in the production site and utilizing the analysis result in all aspects of the supply chain and engineering chain, e-factory concept can contribute to solving not only problems at the manufacturing site, but also problems throughout the whole business process, and thus the entire world. We already have accumulated the track record of over 30,000 such cases, success cases. In the field of edge computing, we are contributing to the reduction of CO2 emissions in our customers' factories by utilizing our own compact AI branded MySart to improve the efficiency of our customers' production lines, and thus are also contributing to green through the utilization of digital solutions. In 2017, 6 companies from the manufacturing and IT sectors, including our company, launched a common platform consortium called EdgeCross to accelerate interoperable edge solutions. Germany's leading companies such as Siemens and Schaeffler are also participating. And we recognize that the edge computing field is now more focused in Europe as well. Now, please allow me to shortly show 2 examples of collaboration in the digital field in Germany and Europe. The first is a joint research project, 5G Comet, being initiated by the Fraunhofer Institute and sponsored by the state of North Rhine-Westphalia. Our German branch is engaged in the project consortium together with the Fraunhofer Institute. 5G Comet aims to realize manufacturing site installed real-time communication with safety and reliability by utilizing the next generation communication standard of 5G. In part 2 of today's conference, we will introduce in more detail. So please tune in for session from the 10:25 in Japan time, European time. The second example is a high precision positioning system enabled through our satellite technologies. Our company develops a manufacturer's satellite and other space system, and has launched a business division at our German branch that offers high precision positioning system, so-called HPPS. HPPS can provide the positioning information with the centimeter level accuracy. In this HPPS business, we are contributing to the smart mobility society, and we are mainly doing this through 3 unique key technologies as described in the red color. HPPS could be used for various purposes such as automobiles, transportation equipment, drones, and agriculture. We are actively working on establishing a common and collaborative infrastructure with high definition locator and external equipment for the HPPS. In partnership with HERE Technology, Netherlands, we leverage this high precision positioning technology to automatically and in real time share the location information of road obstacles detected by the sensors of the preceding vehicles on the road to the following vehicles through the HERE's cloud platform. We are jointly developing a hazard warning system for lane guidance. In this way, contribution to the optimization of the overall transportation and accordingly the reduction of CO2 emission can be expected too. In closing, Germany and Japan share basic values, should cooperate in creating common rules in the digital domain, especially in the field of industrial data distribution, which will heavily support competitiveness. Germany and Japan, as the leaders of the world manufacturing industry, should collaborate to develop such platform and rules. We will be able to leverage the foundation across international borders, companies, and industries to contribute to the development of data distribution, even to other regions such as Europe and Asia, and of course also worldwide. By enabling a shift from the current model of industrial data utilization to a form of free distribution across countries and regions, the creation of innovation in each country will be accelerated. And we believe that cooperation between Germany and Japan will be deep. We at Mitsubishi Electric would like to contribute through cooperation to establishing data free flow with trust between our 2 countries. That is all from my side for now, and I thank you very much for your kind attention.
Well, Uemura-san, thank you so much. And it was great to hear that you enjoyed your time staying with your family in our state. Now, we would like to move over to the panel discussion, and we welcome now 4 additional panelists in addition to our keynote speakers.
Das macht er, ne? Öffnet dann.
Yeah, and I would first like to ask you to just give us a short statement about yourself, your roles, why the topic of innovation is crucial to your organization and yourselves. And I would like to start out with Ms. Anja Isabel Dotzenrath, CEO of RWE Renewable. And while she talks to us, I would ask other panelists to kindly turn off their microphones. Ms. Dotzenrath, the global leader in renewables, would you kindly make the start?
I will be happy to do so. I hope you could see me and hear me.
Yes.
Wonderful, thank you. So first of all, thank you very much for the kind invitation. It's an honor and a pleasure to be with you today. My name is Anja Isabel Dotzenrath. I'm the CEO of RWE Renewables. Of course, born in North Rhine-Westphalia, and also RWE is born in North Rhine-Westphalia 123 years ago. We are an energy company with a very, very long history and are at the moment at the forefront of making the energy transition happen. We are one of the global leaders in renewables with an installed capacity of more than 10 gigawatts and more than 5 gigawatts under construction as we speak around the world. Also, of course, some megawatts in North Rhine-Westphalia, which is very important. We have a very, very strong focus on climate and supporting the transition to climate neutrality. We ourselves have committed to become climate neutral in 2040. So 10 years earlier than many companies and of course nations around the world envision. And we are going through a tremendous transformation as a company ourselves, as we are basically moving out of coal-fired generation and also nuclear, and focusing solely our power generation going forward on renewables. And of course, then also, because this will become even more important in the future, low carbon flexible generation, so decarbonized gas. Why is Japan close to my heart and very important for RWE? Our growth plan as a company, of course, has a strong focus on Germany, but we know that growth in renewables is a mega trend, an important mega trend around the world. And also Japan is embarked on a very ambitious transformation journey. Also, you committed to become carbon neutral in 2050, and you are growing the renewables industry very, very ambitiously. And we as a company want to make a contribution. We are a global leader in offshore wind, in fact, #2 in the world. And we are absolutely committed to support Japan and the Japanese government and the Japanese companies to build an offshore wind industry in the country. And we have just submitted our first offer in the upcoming tender. So we are together with Kyushu Electric. We are formed a consortium and applied to be eligible to build and operate the Yuri Honshu offshore wind farm. And we are, of course, very eager to see what the outcome of the first competitive auction will be. But our commitment to Japan is absolutely long-term. We are discussing with many corporations, additional partnerships, and we consider Japan as a key growth market for us. Thank you very much.
Ms. Dotzenrath, thank you so much for this strong commitment to Japan. And I can report that we have excellent relationships with your people here on the ground in Japan and are happy to support. Now let us move on to Paderborn, if I may say so. Mr. Götzler, Martin Götzler, the CEO of D-Space Group, located in this wonderful city in Ostwestfalen, where I have actually also spent part of my youth. So I'm very happy and pleased to ask Mr. Götzler to introduce D-Space. I hesitate to use the term hidden champion because I think you're all already a global player. And so please, may we have your statement.
Thank you also from my side for the invitation. Good afternoon, good morning, and konnichiwa. My name is Martin Götzler. I'm the CEO of D-Space, and my leadership experience has been primarily related to the automotive, to the semiconductor, and to the lighting industries, and have gained global experience working in multiple countries and in CEO roles, basically with global responsibility. D-Space, as a family-owned business, is the automotive industry's partner for simulation and validation. Yeah? Our mission is to support our customers by increasing quality, by cutting cost, by reducing development time, and minimizing the number of real-world test drives. The conference motto, "Cooperation for Innovation," matches perfectly. Yeah? Innovation is part of our DNA. Our current innovation focus is on electromobility and automated and autonomous driving. To bring the innovations quickly to market, we have to partner and we have to collaborate closely with our customers and with technology partners. Just think about cloud technology, sensor technology, or artificial intelligence. And here we take a global approach, and Japan plays a key role since it's our second most important market worldwide.
Excellent. Yes, D-Space is really an exciting company, and we also here in Japan have excellent contacts to your company. And I think in the second part of the event, we will also hear more about the collaboration some Japanese companies have with D-Space. Thank you so much. Now, I would like to move on to Mr. Nobutani. Konnichiwa. Welcome. Of course, JETRO is an extremely important actor for the development of business relationships between Germany and Japan, and of course, for NRW and NRW.Global business. So, Nobutani-san, dozo yoroshiku onegai shimasu.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman, with your fluent Japanese introduction. It's very kind of you. Good morning to whom in Germany, and good afternoon to whom in Japan, and good morning to all of distinguished guest speakers. My name is Kazushige Nobutani, the president of JETRO. JETRO has 49 offices in Japan, 76 abroad, including 3 in Germany, to connect business community each other. Innovation is important. It is arising everywhere in the world. So global connection is a key to success. Born global means bright future. All Japan means glorious past. For all of us, if united, we can deal common challenges such as carbon neutral and digital economy in much better way. Let me give some examples. Cheap technologies are necessary for fair burden sharing with future generation, and to avoid energy poverty. For digital economy, trust is important. Japan and Germany can provide trust to digital economy because made in Japan and made in Germany are two trusted trademarks in the global market. We compete each other. Japan and Germany compete each other. This is famous. Japan and Germany collaborate each other. This is not famous. But we collaborate because we respect each other and share fundamental values. When we collaborate, we can provide goods and services which reflect our common values, such as freedom, fairness, rule of law, privacy, Meisterschaft, and beauty of nature. Uemura-san from Mitsubishi, he provided good example of collaboration of data sharing technology. We can work together in such a way. For strategic view, our cooperation may pave the way for alternatives for both of us. Both of us have strong economic relationship with the United States and China, which is good and inevitable. Both of us can be a strategic partner each other, which is better and indispensable. So today's event must be successful. Thank you.
Well, Nobutani-san, thank you so much. And JETRO really is a hugely important partner for us in our everyday business, but also strategically looking forward. And you rightly mentioned that we share common values in our work. So thank you so much. Now, we would like to move on to Universitätsprofessor Dr. Reanat Dr. H.C. Mult Ulrich Rüdiger, who is the rector of Aachen University, the leading and most favorite of our universities in North Rhine-Westphalia, if I may say so, and also very well connected to Japan. Professor Dr. Rüdiger, may I ask you for your statement?
So good morning, good afternoon. It depends on the perspective. First, I would like to take the opportunity to thank you for organizing this important exchange event as well. My name is Ulrich Rüdiger. I'm rector of RWTH Aachen University since 2018 and physicist by training. In my role as rector of RWTH Aachen, I'm also member of the Tokyo Tech International Advisory Board, so well connected to Japan. As a university with a very strong technological profile and multiple links to industry, RWTH Aachen sees Japan as one of the strategic partners in Asia for the education of the next generation of scientists, technologists, and economists to further strengthen the relation of both countries towards global challenges of the next decades to come. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Rüdiger. Now, we would like to ask Professor Dr. Pinkwart, Minister Pinkwart, and Mr. Uemura also to join in again into the discussion. Professor Pinkwart, Minister Pinkwart, you mentioned in your keynote that NRW cannot rest on its successful benchmark cases. Could you tell us a bit more about the new initiatives which your ministry has initiated and your view of innovation opportunities between Japanese partners and NRW partners? Already you have mentioned some of those points.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Löhr, and all of our distinguished panelists this morning or in Japan this afternoon. Yeah, what we commonly face are challenges like climate issues, digitization, and a new form also of globalization. And therefore, we have to look for new answers. We have learned it from RWE. It's a very important energy company in North Rhine-Westphalia. And this company has to transform its core business. And we as a state have to really fundamentally transform our energy system from coal and nuclear power-based energy systems to renewables. And we have to organize it in a very fast way. So a lot of innovations about electricity, about the new energy system. It has to be much more smarter and more intelligent and decentralized and so on and so on. So it's a rich field for innovation, and also Mitsubishi and others are with us here in North Rhine-Westphalia and are also transforming their energy technologies in close collaboration with our universities. Professor Rüdiger is with us, so the RWTH is a really strong partner in all these fields for us. But there are also other topics. The automotive industry is very important for Japan, but also for Germany, for North Rhine-Westphalia. We have here 200,000 employees, high paid, high educated and trained, and they're also looking for new opportunities in the car industry, new engine systems, autonomous driving, etc., etc. Then the factories are fundamentally changing the way how they work, what was named Factory 4.0. But in some case, we discuss the topic of Factory 7.0, because we also have in mind that we need new materials, which are much more environmental friendly. We have to transform our factories to produce much more in an individualized way, so that the customer can design its own products. And these topics, the climate issue is a fundamental one, not only for the energy sector, but we have to transform all energy intensive industries like steel, like glass, like paper industry, and so on. So a lot of technologies are needed for organizing this fundamental transformation process. This is all part of our innovation strategy, and I can mention more. It's also culture, it's education. I love the Japanese vision of a society 5.0, what means that we have also discussed about education, about cultural topics much more, and asking ourselves, how can digitization help us to scale up in all these fields? And that's exactly what we are discussing in our innovation strategy.
Yes, you mentioned the energy transformation, and Ms. Dotzenrath, I mean, if I look at the German energy landscape, you have gone through a huge transformation over the past years, and I understand that you are also very active in the hydrogen area, with the huge challenges moving not only out of the atomic industry, but also out of the coal industry. Perhaps you could elaborate a bit on your activities in North Rhine-Westphalia, your ambitions in that direction. You have to unmute. Sorry.
The problem is always in front. The problem is always in front of the screen. I think we are used to that phrase. You are on mute. So thank you very much for the question. I mean, in fact, we are still in the middle of our transformation as a company, as the rest of the world is, and it will take clearly much more than a decade to have it accomplished. But I think we are very optimistic with now the law in place, so we know what we need to deliver, and in parallel we build the new energy world, and this is very much clearly driven by renewables. Again, we have 10 gigawatt installed capacity globally, 5 gigawatt under construction. I think these are enormous numbers and enormous amounts of funds which are required to do so. And clearly, we also acknowledge that renewables alone, an intermittent, the intermittent nature of renewables, this doesn't do the trick to create a new, let's say, stable energy system. We need flexible, low carbon, flexible generation. We need hydrogen because we all acknowledge that there are sectors which cannot be directly electrified. I mean, we want to, of course, electrify as much as possible. This is why renewable energy will become the dominant primary energy resource globally in the next decades. But there are certain limitations, and this is the role of hydrogen. And we need to really grow a hydrogen economy in North Rhine-Westphalia, because North Rhine-Westphalia is the Energieland. I mean, I think we all know this. We have big energy companies here. We have a lot of demand here, and we need to ensure that this transition to a CO2-free energy system is driven out of North Rhine-Westphalia, also for the rest of Germany. And therefore, it's very important that we have a strong focus also on creating creating hydrogen value chains. And we know, I mean, that likely for Germany, the answer will be very much, in the end, green hydrogen, although we need all the other colors in between just to ensure that we can ever get there. We need to collaborate very, very closely with industry, because the hydrogen economy will start from the customer. And we have some flagship projects just announced, BASF and RWE, more to come. We have more than 30 hydrogen projects in Germany, but also in the UK and in the Netherlands. And we believe it is absolutely vital to accomplish our net zero target that we grow the hydrogen economy in Germany at scale. We know we will be a net importer. Same is true for Japan. And I would say that there is a fantastic opportunity to again join forces here to exchange technology, to ensure best practices are shared, to potentially develop joint supply chains. And I think that is a little bit the vision we are having here at RWE.
Okay, thank you. Uemura-san, I think Mitsubishi Electric is also a very innovative company, also in the space of energy efficiency. And if I listen to what our minister and Ms. Dotzenrath have said, I think Japan has a lot to offer here. Also, of course, your company, but in moving forward the energy transition and bringing your innovative capabilities in.
Yes, our company is also providing a lot of technology and products regarding power generation, including nuclear power plant and also the renewable energy related things. From our side, I just would like to mention that in case of transformation from the conventional power generation system to the renewable energy system, so we need to overview the whole, the generation site, like virtual power plant. Some part of the power generation system still, using, nuclear power or the conventional, thermal power, but step by step, those will be replaced to the renewable energy. But in case of the solar power, renewable energy, it should be utilized basically, local production and local consumption, because it's not unstable, power generation. So that the virtual power plant, the whole entire optimization of the power generation resource, energy resource, is quite important. So yes. The Mitsubishi Electric also now developing a so-called energy resource aggregation business model. So by utilizing the digital technologies, so that we Mitsubishi Electric considers digital technology is always lead to the green, so green issue. So we say that the DX, digital transformation, is a key to green transformation, GX.
Yes,
that
thank you
is
so much.
our current
Yeah.
concept and the direction of our business and R&D.
Yes, I think this is a very important topic. Mr. Götzler, I mean, you are on the forefront of digital transformation, and your company is active in many areas which relate to the challenges we face right now, be it in autonomous driving or be it in manufacturing and other areas. If I think of Japan, I mean, autonomous driving will be of a very big importance. So I understand that really Japan is a very crucial market for you in developing solutions and business going forward.
Definitely. And the long-standing and successful automotive companies in Japan are global technology leaders when it comes to low consumption gasoline engines, when it comes to hybrid vehicles, when it comes to pure electrical vehicles, hydrogen technology, but also sensor technology like camera imaging or radar. And therefore, and all these companies are our customers. But in order to collaborate with these customers, and I think that was already mentioned, it's important to build up trust with the Japanese partners. And so in order to really create this partnership, we listen very closely to our customers. We definitely we definitely need to understand very closely their needs, and that's what we do, because Japanese engineers, they're very ambitious in terms of innovation, quality, and also accuracy. And these are things which help us to develop and to create always better solutions. Therefore, the collaboration with, as I mentioned, the second largest market for us is a key fundament for the success of D-Space. I can also mention that it's not just the automotive companies. We also have certain leading areas, for example, for innovation. I mentioned the sensor technology. I mentioned also precision motors, for example, but also think about cloud technologies. These are areas where we collaborate in Japan with local activities and businesses in order to get to the next level. But I also would like to add that we have also research projects in Germany together with the University of Aachen and Paderborn, for example. And here we have included also companies like Denso, which are definitely also leaders in their field.
Excellent. I have to look a bit at my time because I understand that Minister Pinkwart is soon rushing off to the Parliament. So coming to the latter half of or nearly the end of our panel discussion, I would like to propose kind of in a rapid fire manner that each of you gives us a short 1 or 2 sentence statement as to your aspirations for innovation, cooperation between North Rhine-Westphalia and Japan. What you think important, just put it in a short sentence. And I start with Minister Pinkwart.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Löhr. I think very important for innovation are also startup business. And we are supporting startups with our university, especially the RWTH as a front runner, but also other universities. And I would like to invite our Japanese partners also to collaborate with our startup scene, and hopefully vice versa. So also startups from Japan are invited to come to Germany, to North Rhine-Westphalia, looking here to scale up their business. And if we can do it in both ways, and if we can closely collaborate also with the SMEs and the hidden champion companies and startups from both sides. I would think, and I'm really optimistic that that can be an additional driver to reach all of our very important goals which we have mentioned.
Thank you so much. Professor Rüdiger. We need your to please unmute. Yeah.
Just realized that. So my rapid fire, or in other words, my final wishes in this context. Well, increasing the number of students from Japan by combining our study programs with internship opportunities at the Japanese companies on our campus. At the moment, on our campus, close to the central campus of RWTH Aachen, we already have established cooperations with more than 400 companies, 15, by the way, from Japan. For example, Mitsubishi and Mitsubishi Electric Corporation, Mitsui, Nissan, Toyota, Hitachi, Kawasaki, and others are already here. And so if these companies offers internships for our students from Japan, I think this really will lead to acceleration at its best with a very pronounced RWTH flavor.
Excellent. Very nice. Yes, I think it's the youth, it's the young people who will carry us forward. Ms. Dotzenrath.
Thank you very much. My pitch would be, we as RWE want to make a contribution to help also Japan transition to carbon neutrality. We all know offshore wind will be absolutely essential because of the specifics of Japan. And we would offer to bring the know-how from 20 years of experience in offshore wind as one of the leaders. We clearly acknowledge and welcome the absolute vital importance to form strong partnerships in Japan with Japanese companies to grow the offshore wind industry. And we believe, and this has been mentioned many, many times, partnerships on eye level based on trust to the mutual benefit of both companies. And we are very, very open to strengthen the bonds and to build on the, let's say, the little seeds we have planted. Thank you very much.
Excellent. We will support you in that. Okay, then Nobutani-san. Building trust is something JETRO does day in, day out.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Lara. Yes, my message is come to Japan. Blue ocean for carbon neutral and digital economy is just spreading in front of you. JETRO will guide you. So happy success for entrepreneurs and happy life for your family like Uemura-san enjoyed in Germany. Thank you.
Thank you. Herr Götzler.
Yeah, coming back to the motto of the meeting today, cooperation for innovation, I would say successful cooperation between Japanese and German entities requires innovation, quality, and trust. And this is how you create a long-lasting partnership.
Thank you so much. Well, thank you all for your excellent and most inspiring contributions to the NRW Japan Summit 2021 on Cooperation for Innovation. We hereby conclude the first part of today's event. Professor Dr. Andreas Pinkwart, Minister Pinkwart, Mr. Noritsugu Uemura, Ms. Anya Isabel Dotzenrath, Mr. Martin Götzler, Mr. Kazushige Nobutani, and Professor Dr. Ulrich Rüdiger, and last not least, Mr. Felix Neugaard. We thank you so much for your cooperation today, and we hope to see you soon in NRW or here in Japan. To the audience, dear audience, in Japan, Germany, and elsewhere around the globe, we actually had more than 220 participants today, not only from Japan and Germany, but also from a number of other countries. Please stay with us and join us in the part 2 of our NRW Japan Summit 2021. And now first enjoy a 15-minute coffee break. See you soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the NRW Japan Summit 2021 on Cooperation for Innovation. We shall now highlight some benchmark cases for successful cooperation projects between NRW, Germany, and Japan. My name is Georg Löhr, and I lead the Office of NRW.Global Business Japan here in Tokyo and am your host and moderator for today. The program for the next hour or so is as such. After a few words of welcome and opening remarks, we shall move on to a presentation by Mr. Andreas Pfaff, Division Manager, Mitsubishi Electric European Development Center, on the topic of Mitsubishi Electric's cooperation in a 5G R&D project with RWTH Aachen University and other partners. Then we shall hear from Alexander Krautz, Head of Business Development Next Kraftwerke and also Director Next Kraftwerke Toshiba Corporation, who will speak to us about Next Kraftwerke Toshiba Corporation, a virtual power plant, VPP as a service. We then move on to Daikin and NRW, driving open innovation out of the Ruhr metropolitan area. Speaking to us will be Takayuki Hirao, Senior Director, Daikin Chemical Europe Innovation Center. Furthermore, we shall hear from Mr. Taro Tabata, Managing Director, Denso Automotive Deutschland GmbH and Head of the Denso Aachen Engineering Center, and Mr. Ulrich Schwarz, Deputy Head of the Aachen Engineering Center. So, welcome everyone. Happy to see you here. And we are now pleased to hear from Mr. Andreas Pfaff, Division Manager, Mitsubishi Electric Corporation, Mitsubishi Electric European Development Center, to talk about Mitsubishi Electric's cooperation in a 5G R&D project with RWTH Aachen University and other partners. Please find the profile of Mitsubishi Electric here. We have already had the opportunity to listen to Mr. Uemura's presentation. Mr. Pfaff, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much for the introduction, Mr. Löhr. I hope my microphone is open and you can hear me. Good morning to Europe side. Good afternoon to Japan. I'd like to introduce you to the 5G Comet project a little bit more. 5G Comet is a cooperation with regards to 5G at the RWTH University in Aachen, together with some institutes of the university and other partners. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Thank you. Some words to myself. So I'm with Mitsubishi since 2002. Immediately after entering Mitsubishi, I went to Japan for 2 years and worked at Mitsubishi Electric Corporation, Himeji Works in Himeji, Japan, as a hardware developer. After returning, after 2 years, I returned to Rating, and then I continued the work here in EDC. Besides the role as division manager since 2020, I'm also in the board of the 5G ACIA, which is an organization within the German ZVEI related to 5G in industrial automation and the standardization. And I'm also in the Platform Industry 4.0 Working Group 1 and in several working groups inside the ZVE and the VDMA. Next slide, please. Mr. Uemura mentioned already, we are located here in Ratingen. We are now in, since a couple of years in a complete new building here. In general, we have here 8 business units in Germany. The one which I belong to is the Industrial Automation business unit. And we are here, or I'm heading, as I mentioned before, the Factory Automation European Development Center. So we are in charge here for local development support for our mother factory, Nagoya Works in Japan. And we are especially focusing here also on investigating and researching and contributing to the standardization of European advanced technologies, which are, of course, the Industry 4.0 related technologies, TSN, 5G, and so on. As you can see here on the map, Ratingen is quite close to Aachen, so we take the benefit of having round about 1 hour drive to Ratingen, so to Aachen. So this is also a benefit that we are very close to the Aachen University. Next slide, please. So the topic is 5G. I think I don't have to explain much about 5G. It's basically the next generation, the 5th generation cellular communication, the successor of 4G, which is also known as LTE, long-term evolution. A list of characteristics you see here, of course, in the media we hear almost higher speed, more download possible, and so on. For the industrial automation, some of these items are important and interesting, especially here, the low latency. So 5G offers a low latency of 1 millisecond or even less, which is much faster compared to LTE. And also, especially industrial automation, the availability is very important. And as you can see here, 5G is promising us somehow 99.999% availability. Looking to the right side, you see a triangle. We have here broadband, many nodes, and real time. At the top, broadband, also known as EMBB, enhanced mobile broadband. Sorry for the mistake here. Then we have many nodes, the massive machine type communication on the left bottom side, and the ultra reliable low latency communication on the bottom right side. Looking to the applications of 5G in industrial automation, which have been identified by the 5G ACIA, you see here some examples on the right side. So, of course, in logistics, augmented reality, and so on, the broadband is very important, while for many other applications, machine-to-machine communication, AGVs, and especially motion control, the hard real-time is very important. And only a couple of applications where a lot of sensors are used, they need this massive machine type communication capability of 5G. Next slide, please. So why is 5G so interesting for industrial automation? Well, at first, the industrial Internet of Things and Industry 4.0 is driving somehow that the traditional automation pyramid, which you can see here, is somehow dissolving. And in effect will be that almost all devices will potentially communicate with other devices. Another approach is a flexible and volatile production. So this requires to the communication that it is, of course, real-time communication, but also flexible. And we know that cable is not every time flexible. Nowadays, in the industrial automation, a cable is still almost used. even if we have already wireless communication standards for industrial automation. The industrial automation community, let's say the machine builders, are well known as being somehow quite conservative. And the statement, whenever a cable can be used, the cable will be used, is, I think it's still quite common in the industrial automation community. Nevertheless, we see that on the shop floor, there are new applications, new devices approaching. For example, the AGVs, more and more AGVs, drones are even considered. And of course, the augmented reality, for example, the technician who has to repair a machine or who has to set up a machine, the AR and even the VR will support the technician here. And all this requires wireless communication, which is quite good covered by 5G. The digitization, which is mentioned everywhere, also requires or demands somehow connectivity to more and more devices. For example, condition monitoring in the process industry, for example, it's possible to attach condition monitoring devices, for example, to gearboxes or motors. But establishing the plant with new cables for this application is not possible in every case. And here, wireless communication is the solution of the day, let's say. I mentioned before, there are already wireless communication standards available in the industrial automation, like Wi-Fi or Bluetooth and others. However, 5G has here the benefit that we will have one standard in the factory, in the plant, and also outside. So there are a lot of benefits. Next slide, please. So now I come to the 5G commit. Due to the activity in the 5G ACAA, we got contacted here by Mr. König from Fraunhofer IPT. The 5G commit, you see here, commit is a quite artificial word. It's control over time-sensitive network. It started this year in January, and the project end is next year, December. It's funded by the NRW Ministry for Economics, Innovation and Digitization. We have 10 partners, well, counting the RWTH University separately, we have 11. And basically the objectives are, we like to check, we like to examine the real-time control over converged 5G and TSN infrastructure. Well, TSN is basically a new, not so new standard, let's say. We have in industrial automation, we have already a lot of Ethernet-based communication standards, especially for industrial automation. However, TSN is going to provide on the layer 2 for the experts here a kind of floor, common floor for any kind of wide communication, wide Ethernet communication. Other objectives in the project are we like to investigate the control out of the factory cloud. I like to emphasize here factory cloud because most people, when they consider cloud, they think AWS, so the Amazon cloud. They think of Azure, the Microsoft cloud, or Google cloud. Well, I think it's not impossible that these big vendors of cloud solutions will also provide smaller solutions for the factory automation, for the factory floor, for the plants. But at the end, the real-time control, the real-time capability in the industrial automation is very, very important. Thus, the cloud will, in any case, very close be very close to the machine. Means it will be some kind of factory cloud. We take a focus on software as a service and platform as a service, and of course, the security is very, very important, and especially in case of wireless communication, if the control, the industrial automation control is done by wireless communication, the security is much, much more important. And this is what we take care of, what we take a look on in this project. Next slide, please. Here we see the partners and the organization. So the Fraunhofer IPT is taking care for the project management. We have the ISEC and the WZLS research partners in this project. The industry partners are company Meastream, of course, Mitsubishi, and the company Utimaco. Then the technology partners, we have Ericsson in the German Edge Cloud and Hirschmann. Especially Ericsson and Hirschmann, they are somehow taking care for the 5G infrastructure in the 5G industry campus, which is located in Aachen at the university. And we have the SMS group as an application partner in this project. Next slide, please. Yeah, the project motivation and the goals I mentioned before, we like to integrate 5G in real-time communication. And we see the benefit for a lot of applications here. Of course, the mobile applications, for example, the AGVs, it's not cannot be considered to have cabled AGV, but also other mobile applications. Then safety critical functions, for example, the collaborative robots. There are solutions considered here, how safety can be established here. Sensor technology is in focus, and of course, the cloud-based control will have a strong focus in this project. The goals, our goals are, of course, we like to set up a real-time enabled ecosystem using TSN, so the time-sensitive networking and 5G, so the wired communication and the wireless communication. The holistic approach is to have to consider which limitation and security aspects we have here and to find some solutions, to provide some solutions. We like to present, we demonstrate our results in some relevant applications, which I will list up later. And of course, we like to contribute here 5G in the areas of manufacturing and automation. And on the left side, you see somehow on the top, we have the factory cloud, and then you see the communication chain over wireless communication and wired communication. So the Ethernet network, of course, the cloud, let's say the server rack, which is running the factory cloud, it has some Ethernet network connectivity to the 5G core. And we have the 5G base stations, the user equipment, and at the end, the field devices, which will be robots in our application, in our demonstration. Next slide, please. So Uemura-san showed already this graphic here. Here we have the different technologies and the different aspects visualized. So the aspects which we are focusing here in the project. Of course, we have the 5G and the TSN infrastructure. Then we have in the cloud, we have somehow the virtual PLC, because even here, the control, the robot control will be done somehow by a kind of PLC. The network, the total network, the TSN network and the 5G network need some network modeling, some optimization, some configuration. And of course, we have the cybersecurity solutions. And around this, you see the logos of the partners. So starting at the top left side, we have the company German Edge Cloud, which is mainly taking care for the cloud solutions here on in this project. We have the Fraunhofer IPT together with the WZL, which is providing the floor, the workspace, the infrastructure, and so on. The companies Ericsson, Hirschmann taking care for the communication infrastructure. Utimaco and the ISEC, they have a focus on the security. And we, as Mitsubishi, we have already robots here in Aachen for different research projects. And we focus here on the robots. Interesting part here is looking to TSN. At the end, the robots will have no 5G interface, but TSN interface. And the robots which are in Aachen at the moment, they don't have the TSN interface. So by this project, somehow we will also check some brownfield application interfacing existing devices with TSN or 5G. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. The use cases where we like, which we focus on, and where we like to demonstrate our results, where we like to investigate and research in this project. Basically, two use cases. One is the cooperative robots, sorry, and the other one is laser structuring. Well, unfortunately, you don't see here Mitsubishi robot here, but basically the cooperative robotics will be done by two Mitsubishi robots. So in this use case, we will somehow set up an application using two Mitsubishi robots, which are controlled out of the cloud. The laser structuring is the other use case. Basically, laser structuring requires a lot of computing performance and a lot of data. And basically, this is also a very good fit for control out of the cloud. So that's the reason why also laser structuring is considered here as a demo in this project. Next slide, please. So coming to our motivation and our contribution, of course, we have, as a factory automation solution vendor, Mitsubishi Electric, we have a lot of factory automation, industrial automation skills. We bring them into this project. Mitsubishi Electric has launched in 2019. Basically, the specification has been launched by the CLPA in 2018. We have CC-Link ITSN, which is our TSN solution for the industrial automation. So we like to bring, of course, investigate and present also this technology because it's TSN in this project. We focus on gaining the know-how on industrial 5G on Europe side, and also the control out of the cloud. Well, basically, some might think control out of the cloud is somehow contrary to the PLC business of Mitsubishi Electric. Nevertheless, we are not going to kill our own business. We see this as interesting technology, which will somehow take place besides control of applications, machines by the PLC. And this is an early approach to investigate this here. And of course, the 5G ICE and the RWTH Aachen University is a very inspiring and technological, interesting environment. So this is also a strong motivation. And the 5G Commit is the first project for us as the FADC here in Rating. And it's somehow also kick-off for us for further research cooperations in the field of new technologies. And with this, I'm at the end of my presentation. I like to thank you very much and say to Japan, Goseichou arigatou gozaimashita.
こちらこそありがとうございました。Mr. Pfaff, thank you so much for this excellent presentation. Very good insight into what you are doing in Aachen, and we look forward to hear more from you in the future.
Thank you very much.
Now we move on to Cologne, and I should like to ask Mr. Alexander Krautz, Head of Business Development, Next Kraftwerke Cologne, and also Director, Next Kraftwerke Toshiba Corporation, to talk about this new venture, Next Kraftwerke Toshiba Corporation's a virtual power plant VPP as a service provider. Please find the profile, corporate profile of Next Kraftwerke here, and Mr. Krautz, please go ahead. The floor is yours. Just a second.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, konbanwa to the colleagues in Tokyo and Japan, and good morning to the colleagues in Germany. Yeah, so it was a very nice and interesting presentation of Mr. Pfaff, and 5G is also interesting for the energy sector, but for the connection and the exchange of live data from decentralized power producers, LTE connection is also fine and works very well today. So yeah, to my person, my name is Alexander Krautz, and I'm head of business development at Next Kraftwerke, and also one of 3 board directors of the new Next Kraftwerke Toshiba Corporation. I work for Next Kraftwerke since 2014, and yeah, it's a pleasure for me to give you some insights into our business and our joint venture with Toshiba ESS. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Next. So next slide, please.
I have moved the slide. Maybe there's a little bit of latency.
Okay.
Yeah, not because it's LTE, but
okay.
even with 5G, there's some latency between Tokyo and Germany.
Okay, but then I start with the next slide. Yeah, for the start, I would like to introduce a little bit Next Kraftwerke. We are active with our virtual power plant, which is a certified critical infrastructure, not only in Germany. We are currently active in 8 European countries as a trader for renewable energies and provider of flexibility. In 3 further European countries, we are active as a non-asset trader at energy exchanges. We have currently 190 employees working in our digital utility, around 170 of them at our headquarters in Cologne. On the one hand, we have an energy trading department, and on the other, we have an IT department, which is responsible for the development and operation of our virtual power plant. We have connected around 10,000 decentralized power plants with an aggregated capacity of around 8.5 gigawatts. That corresponds to the output of around 8 nuclear power plants. But we are a 100% service provider. That means that we do not own any plants. In addition to selling electricity from renewable energies, we also provide system services from decentralized assets. For example, with a pre-qualified capacity of around 1 gigawatt in the Automatic Frequency Restoration Reserve, AFRR, or R2, we can serve around a third of the total demand in Germany. We daily demonstrate that with the help of a VPP, decentralized power plants can take over the responsibility to stabilize the electricity grids. Next slide, please. This slide not only shows the development of Next Kraftwerke since its foundation in 2009, and the establishment of the joint venture with Toshiba ESS last year. Especially 2011 and 2012 were very important for Next Kraftwerke and its development. In 2011, Next Kraftwerke offered control reserve with a VPP for the first time. And in 2012, the feed-in premium system was introduced in Germany. The provision of control reserve and the marketing of balancing of renewable energies are 2 of 3 core areas. The third service area is the provision of VPP as a service. We have used our experience from the market to develop our own VPP software, which we are now also marketing worldwide. Next slide, please. You may be wondering what a virtual power plant is at all. Unfortunately, we have not the time to go into the details, but in short words. Next slide, please. A VPP is a platform that connects different types of energy suppliers such as wind, PV, or biomass, and energy consumers, as well as batteries, EVs, and power to gas plants. These assets we have already connected in our virtual power plant. With a digital interface, the VPP can monitor and control each single asset. Furthermore, the VPP aggregates the assets to one big digital power plant and take over functions like control reserve. Next slide, please. The heart of the VPP is an artificial intelligence. The algorithm combines different data such as weather forecasts, live data, and restrictions of the different assets, and calculates optimized schedules for each single asset. Our current system can optimize 10,000 assets in one pool in under 2 seconds. That means we need less than 2 seconds from read out the live data to send back a new optimized schedule. And that for 10,000 assets at the same time. And this with LTE, not with 5G. Next slide, please. So far, so good, but you may ask you why Next want to make business in Japan. In 2018 and 2019, so in the time before Corona, we welcomed around 50 delegations from Japan in Cologne. So we saw a demand for a knowledge exchange and for technical solutions in Japan. As a result, we also started first project in Japan. The Japanese energy market is at an interesting stage of the transition process. Today, Japan is taking the steps we took 10 years ago. The opening of the control reserve market has started with the beginning of this fiscal year. As I just mentioned, we already offered control reserve in Germany in 2011. Next year, the feed-in premium system will be introduced in Japan, which was introduced in Germany in 2012. So we can look back on more than 10 years practical experience in connecting, forecasting, trading, balancing, and controlling decentralized assets. We hope that we can support the market development and accelerate the energy transition in Japan. Our lessons learned from all the meetings with Japanese companies were that we need a strong partner for a successful business in Japan. Next slide, please. We were in contact with different companies in Japan and came to the conclusion that we have the best fit with Toshiba Energy Service and Solutions. Toshiba ESS has a high local market experience and is one of the leading energy service providers in Japan. In addition, Toshiba has lot of existing solutions and services which complement our experience and solutions. In order to bundle our energy, we therefore founded the joint venture Next Kraftwerke Toshiba Corporation at the end of 2020. Next slide, please. Last week, we were able to achieve a first success for our joint venture. Our renewable energy aggregation demonstration project has been adopted by METI. Next slide, please. The project already started last week. Next Kraftwerke Toshiba Corporation, or TNK, is the consortium leader of this big project. Goals of the project are to analyze different opportunities, how to connect, to monitor and control renewables and distributed energy resources, such as batteries. To coordinate generation balancing groups and demand balancing groups, and last but not least, to generate additional income at the control reserve market and to avoid or reduce imbalance penalties. Furthermore, we will evaluate different technologies for generation forecasts, battery control, and market trading. Next slide, please. We think that we have a strong consortium with in total 17 renewable aggregators and 11 demonstration collaborators. If you have a look at the list, you might know one or two of the companies. Our partners are bringing 1.2 gigawatt of renewable capacity into the project. So we believe we can achieve very good results for the energy transition in Japan. I hope that I could give you a brief overview of our business and our current activities in Japan. Arigato gozaimasu. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Krautz, thank you so much for this excellent overview. And having met you and Jochen Schül also in Japan, I see that from year to year you are making excellent progress in this market, and also the new announcement you made right now promises that you will really turbocharge the energy turnaround in Japan. Thank you so much. Now, I should like to welcome Mr. Takayuki Hirao, Senior Director, Daikin Chemical Europe Innovation Center, and ask him to talk about Daikin and NRW, driving open innovation out of the Ruhr metropolitan area. You see already this wonderful building in the background, and Hirao-san's picture and the company profile here. Hirao-san, dozo, the floor is yours.
はい、はじめまして、ダイキンケミカルヨーロッパのヒロと申します。よろしくお願いいたします。弊社のオープンイノベーションの推進のため、日本から欧州へ出向してまいりまして、5年が経とうとしております。ようやくこの冬にドルトムントにてイノベーションセンターを開所する予定となっております。よろしいですかね。聞こえてますかね。
はい、聞こえてます。
はい。本日はこのような席で弊社の取り組みを報告させていただく機会をいただきましてありがとうございます。ご準備いただいた関係者の方々に感謝を申し上げます。それでは早速プレゼンに移ります。本日はですね、まずダイキンの科学事業についてご説明します。それからその科学事業部門が取り組む課題についてご報告します。最後にイノベーションセンターに関する内容を報告いたします。では次のページをお願いします。まず弊社についてでございます。はい。一般的に知られていることとしまして、ダイキンは空調機器メーカーでございます。差別性のある技術でこの業界をリードしております。約170カ国に拠点を構えて、家庭用からビル用まで幅広く販売しております。 最近は空気の質にも目を向け、新たなソリューションを提案しております。この弊社の空調事業ですが、実は当時最先端だったフッ素系冷媒の製造販売に端を発しております。空調事業の成長とともにフッ素化学事業も発展し、現在ではフッ素化学分野でも世界のリーダー企業となっております。次のページをお願いします。こちらですね。こちらはダイキンのコーポレートデータです。設立1924年で、日本の大阪に本社を構えておりまして、間もなく100周年を迎えるということでございます。フッ素系の冷媒および空調機器の販売は1930年代に始まったというふうに聞いております。次のページをお願いいたします。続きまして、弊社のフッ素化学事業について簡単にご説明します。弊社のフッ素化学事業は、フッ素化合物の製造販売でございます。こちらに化学事業の売上を示しておりますが、欧州では5拠点ありまして、売上はおよそこの中での 20% 弱でございます。フッ素化合物の原料は、その真ん中にちょっと左側に図で示しておりますけれども、写真で示しておりますけれども、ホタル石と呼ばれる鉱石でございます。有機化合物と反応させて、フッ素系のガスを取り出し、それを原料に多種の材料を生み出します。冷媒でスタートした事業は、今ではフッ素系の樹脂、ゴム、コーティング原料などと品揃えをしてきておりまして、現在1800品目を超える商品を販売しております。売上的には世界2位ですけれども、品揃えはダントツナンバーワンということでございます。効率が悪いと言ってしまえばそれまでなんですけども、私が入社した当時はもうすでにお客様が困っているととにかく助けたいと考えるカルチャーみたいなものがあると感じておりまして、それがこんな結果になったのではなかろうかというふうに思っております。そんな会社ですので、困ったらとりあえず代金に聞くと覚えていただければ幸いでございます。では次のページをお願いいたします。続きまして、科学事業部が取り組む課題についてでございます。特に欧州では、欧州に目を向けますと、サステナビリティとイノベーションという、この2つが大きな時流に乗った課題であると考えております。次のページをお願いいたします。まず、サステナビリティからでございます。弊社は、2050年に向けて、温室効果ガス排出実質ゼロを目指す環境ビジョン2050というのを策定しました。製品自体の省エネですとか、生産を含めたライフサイクル全体の環境負荷低減、エネルギーマネジメントへの貢献など、いろんな取り組みを具体化させております。その中で、化学事業に関連して欧州で始めた、2つの回収再生事例をご報告いたします。まずこのショットで示します2019年に始めた冷媒の回収再生事業でございます。空調部門と連携して冷媒を回収するスキームを作り、再生させて、ループさせる仕組みというのを構築しております。当然回収することが肝でございますので、弊社だけでなく関係する会社や空調機器をお使いのお客様との協力で事業として広げていき、環境へ貢献してまいりたいと考えております。次のページをお願いいたします。これは化学事業部門が取り組むフッ素樹脂の回収再利用に関するものです。フッ素樹脂はそもそも耐久性と不純物の少ないという、そういう信頼性が高い材料として広く知られてお使いいただいております。ただその代表例であります PTFE と呼ばれるもの、あるいはそのコンパウンドは加工性に非常に難しいところがありまして、加工メーカー様のところで加工靴が多く出てしまいます。それを回収して再利用していくというそういう事業でございます。こちらは当然回収したものを再利用するわけですので、お客様の理解を得ながら 徐々に事業を広げていくというふうに、そういうふうに考えております。以上の2例は、分かりやすい事例としてご説明しましたけれども、世の中にはフッ素化合物だけで利用するという用途は非常に少なく、むしろ混合して使うという場面が大半でございます。過去には経済的な理由で断念した技術というのもございましたけれども、昨今のサステナブルの情勢から、再度こういう技術にも、その他の技術にも取り組んでいきたいというふうに考えております。例えば廃棄物の中から科学的にフッ素源を取り除くなど、新しい事例がこれからどんどん出てくると考えております。お困りのことがありましたら、ぜひご連絡いただきたいというふうに思っております。で、次のページをお願いします。で、このショットからですね、イノベーションに関する話となります。フッ素材料といいますのはニッチな材料です。世の中で一般的に使われている材料より価格帯としては非常に高い領域にあります。ですので、フッ素でなければならない用途かどうかということがお客様にとっても重要な視点だと思っております。このショットでは一例として自動車分野でフッ素が活躍できるプログラムというのをお示ししております。実は冒頭申し上げました欧州の売上ですけれども、自動車分野のエンジン周りで耐久性信頼が求められる用途というのが、大きな比率を占めております。今後、こういった自動車分野は電動化でありますとか、自動運転、コネクティッド、あるいはカーシェアリングといった大きなトレンドに直面しておりまして、耐久さだけでなく、特徴的な電気特性とか表面機能というようなものをご提供するようなイノベーションというものを起こしていきたいと考えております。この自動車分野に限って言いますと、現在フォーカスする分野を4つに設定しておりまして、お客様や研究機関と開発を進めております。簡単にご説明しますと、まず電池分野ですけれども、走行距離延長につながる容量アップですとか、電池の安全向上のための検討ですね。それから熱マネ分野ですね。これは熱交換手段、いろんな形での熱交換手段がありますけれども、それに応じた材料を提案していくということ。それからエレクトリック分野です。これはモーターの効率化でありますとか、センサーの信頼性向上、そういった視点での取り組み。それから、内外装分野ですね。こちらにつきましては、特にフッ素の特徴であります防汚性、これを生かした取り組みなどを行っていっております。次のページをお願いいたします。で、先ほど申し上げました自動車分野をはじめ、現在の欧州環境負荷低減の取り組みというものは、世界でも先端を進んでおると考えております。その中で私たちも貢献できることを探したいと考えて、弊社イノベーションセンターを設立することにいたしました。今年の冬、ドルトムントに観光する予定でございます。お客様の困りごとに目を向け、お客様と一緒にソリューションを見つけるという、そういうことを命題にしております。簡単にポイントだけ申し上げますと、4000平米のラボスペースを構えておりまして、またお客様と一緒に検討ができるオープンラボというものを設置しております。ご活用を検討いただければ幸いでございます。で、次のページをお願いいたします。で、これからはですね、そのイノベーションの中身もさることながら、NRW での連携内容についてでございます。新しい用途をご提案するためには、どうしても先端のアプリケーション技術が必要でございます。当時、建設を計画した当時ですね、欧州のどこに、作るか、各地の技術クラスターを比較しまして、一方で当社の、得意技術でありますフッ素の特徴というものを重ねてみた結果、私たちにとってこの NRW に存在する技術クラスターというものが、世界有数であるというふうに、結論付けました。これがドルトムントにこのイノベーションセンターを建設しようとした理由でございます。 2年前にイノベーションセンター建設と並行しまして、ミュンスターにラボを構え、そういった我々の取り組みをいち早く実行していこうというふうに考えました。で、当時取り組みがいろんなプロジェクトが具体化し始めておりました電池分野と表面機能分野において重点を置いてラボでの検討というのを取り組んでおります。それら分野を中心にですね、右に示すようないろんな研究機関との連携を進めております。次のページをお願いいたします。以上の取り組みの結果の一例ですけれども、電池分野でコンソーシアムプロジェクトというのを立ち上げることができております。で、当然こういうコンソーシアムだけでなく、2社間での連携というのも当然スタートさせております。以上が代金からの説明となりますが、イノベーションセンターでは、弊社のエッセンスに NRW の技術をはじめ、お客様と一緒になって環境社会に貢献するソリューションというものを世界に発信するということを目指しております。以上、代金からのご報告でございました。ご清聴ありがとうございました。
Thank you so much, Hirao-san, for the excellent presentation and also for researching the market and finding the best solution for your needs and location. And we're very happy that you found so many partners in NRW and an excellent location in Dortmund, which is actually not far from my home in Germany. So now we will move on to Denso. And we are very privileged and happy to hear today from Mr. Taro Tabata, Managing Director, Denso Automotive Deutschland GmbH and Head of Aachen Engineering Center, together with Mr. Ulrich Schwarz, Deputy Head of the Aachen Engineering Center, to talk about the topic of Japanese innovation made in Germany, Denso's approach to electrify future mobility. Here you have an overview of the corporate profile of Denso and Tabata-san. And Tabata-san and Schwarz-san, the floor is yours.
Dankeschön. Guten Morgen oder Guten Tag. Konbanwa for Japan. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to introduce some example of our collaboration activity with North Rhine-Westphalia. We Denso have technical R&D center in Heinsberg district near Aachen city. Next slide, please. I will introduce section 1, Denso general information, and after that I will hand over to my colleague, Ulrich Schwarz, since he's actually proceeding the project itself. Next slide, please. So to begin with, let me briefly explain about our company Denso. Our headquarters is located in Aichi Prefecture in Japan. Our main portfolio of Denso is automotive-related system and components, such as environmental safety, safety and connected, and so on. But recently, we have been widening up technology area into non-automotive business as well. So today, we will explain some example of activity related to electrification. Next slide, please. In Europe, we have 5 engineering centers in Germany, England, Sweden, and Italy. Engineering centers in Germany are at Aachen and Munich. Next slide, please. The location of Aachen Engineering Center is actually not at Aachen, but at Wegberg in Heinsberg district. It's about 45-minute driving west from Düsseldorf. Okay, I'll hand over to Louis Schwartz. Ulrich, you are muted.
Can you hear me now? Hello?
Yes.
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 Yep.
Yes, now we can
Yes,
hear.
you can hear me.
Loud and clear.
So, good, very good. So let's go back. So, yeah, please go to the next slide. So we are in the AC Engineering Center, which is a technical center from Denso in Europe. I will give you a short overview of the facilities and our activities. Here you can see that we have been founded in 2005 and grown steadily. Currently, we have approximately 120 employees and more than 18 nationalities working closely together, Japanese and European engineers, and we have a very good facility, which I will show you also on the next pages. Next slide, please. Yes, so here on the right side, you see something from the electrification area, and our engineers and our facilities enable us to do various activities. We have capabilities for R&D, doing benchmarking, but also concept making and especially technology research. We're working together with partners and customers on advanced engineering, not only components, but also system engineering. We are validating the benefit of our products in demo cars or on subsystem level. And we're helping our customers and partners to verify the, let's say, benefit of our technology in order to contribute to their business, but also to CO2 reduction by good energy management. Next page, please. Here you can see in a bird view our facility. So we have on the right side started with the Lab A in 2005. The Lab A has a chassis dyno, we have engine dynos, we have a fuel lab, so we can work on conventional powertrain for, let's say, vehicles which are, let's say, still under development, but also we need chassis dynos for hybrid vehicles. We work in the Lab B also on high voltage test benches, and we have in the Lab A also electronics lab. So we have the full competency to work on components, system, software, calibration, and we also have a small test track where we can do some validation assessment of drivability. So we are well equipped with engineers and facilities. Go to the next page, please. Yeah, now I will give you 2 examples of R&D projects. Next page, please. So we are working in all business units with various partners. These are 2 examples from the electrification business unit. The 2 projects are called HyNets for All, and later on Self project. The HyNets partners we are working with in NRW are the Technical University of Aachen and the University of Paderborn. D-Space is a very strong partner we use in many projects, but also as an equipment provider, and there's a small, let's say, company from Paderborn as well. Next page, please. The HyNets project, here you can see an overview, is dealing with lots of technologies. The partners committed to create, first of all, in the initial project, the HyNets, a new development platform applying a holistic approach. So we are trying to not only look on components based on the customer requirements to make the best technology, but we were looking from the beginning on how our customers are using the components in the real world. So we were doing some traffic simulation and we're using the traffic model from the city of Paderborn. We were working closely together with experts from DSpace and University of Paderborn and Aachen to make some vehicle simulation and interconnection of the vehicles, so new vehicle communication. So we heard that before, 5G, and we were connecting in a hybrid car in a real combustion engine with electric motor and power electronics. Everything was run in real time, and this car was, so to say, running in a virtual world with real components. And based on this early stage use, we can identify optimization potential for components. So this was a complete new approach, very successful. Going to the next page, please. Here you can see on the right side our components and some simulation. So we believe this kind of collaboration and such project where the academic world and specialists from the tool vendors like DSpace and we as an automotive supplier work with researchers and city planners like city of Paderborn and create a real traffic simulation and run then the real hardware can help us to optimize the components and optimize the energy consumption. So what we have done is using our real hardware, especially we were creating a new electric motor with a very high power density and using our inverter, and then connect everything. And you can see on the bottom right side, engineers can operate and drive through the virtual city, whereas the combustion engine and the electric powertrain is driving in the simulated traffic. And we can find out then how to avoid kind of overspec and optimize our components in order to make e-mobility more affordable according to the real world needs, and using this kind of technology from step one to have an optimized approach. So our electrification hardware is running in traffic simulation in real time, and we believe this kind of innovative approach is very helpful and contribute also to the OEMs and the end users. Next page, please. So now I come to the second R&D project. It's so-called SELF. SELF is dealing not only with hybrid and electric vehicle, but fuel cell vehicle. Also, we see a lot of needs now upcoming due to strict regulation for commercial vehicle trucks. So in this project, we were working again together with University of Aachen, the PEM Institute, and with a commercial vehicle axle maker in NRW. This company is called BPW. And there was there is another partner, the company Henkel in Düsseldorf, which is a kind of a pilot user using this technology in real world use and to verify the technology is suitable. Going to the next page, please. Here you can see what is the scope of this project. As I mentioned, this consortium is building up fuel cell demo trucks. The Aachen University is the leader. 3 trucks will be built up quickly by 2022. in order to verify the technology, to get feedback from the industry, and use Henkel logistics as a power user to give feedback to all the participants. In this project, you can see on the right side, bottom right side, BPW designed a very new e-axle where our electric motors are integrated. They have a very high power density and low losses. So this kind of e-machine and the full axle is very useful in battery EV trucks as well in fuel cell trucks. And it can show the commercial vehicle customers and the users how to effectively reduce CO2 on the road in the next upcoming years. This project more or less just started, and we have a very good collaboration, and also, of course, think beyond this project how to bring these products to the market. Next page, please. Next. So I would like to sum up. Denso is a Japanese company which became global many, many years ago. And in Germany, we have this R&D center in NRW in Wegberg, the so-called Aachen Engineering Center. And I think our colleagues in Japan are very happy to have us. So we can collaborate with tool vendors, with the universities, lots of local partners. And they are happy, they appreciate our collaboration and rely on our electrification expertise, but also other experience in powertrain and so forth. So in return, we can profit from their vast experience and the market knowledge. And yeah, it's kind of a win-win situation for our partners. And we believe such kind of collaboration will create further innovations, will inspire us, and with the e-machines made in Germany, we will drive the future mobility, not only for hybrid, but also electric vehicle, and in the future also fuel cell vehicle. So the first trucks will hit the road in 2022. This is the plan, and Japan and Europe, leading in hydrogen society, will set an example. Thank you very much for listening.
Yeah, dear Tabata-san, dear Mr. Schwarz, excellent presentation. And I remember visiting your center in Wegberg, and one sentence remains in my memory very strong, is that through the center in Wegberg and through the cooperation with players like RWTH Aachen, you are becoming an insider in Germany, connecting with all the relevant players and the talent, global talent that is available also in Germany. And I can see also from your presentation that your center is moving forward into the future with these very highly interesting projects together with D-Space or with other partners, just as with these fuel cell demo trucks. I think this is really very interesting, and we expect to hear more from you in the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the support. Thank you.
Yeah, happy to do so. Now, dear speakers and panelists, dear audience, we're slowly but surely coming to a close of today's event. We had a very high level and very inspiring first session with our minister and with some CEOs and high level representatives from NRW as well as from Japan. I think it was a unique opportunity to look at the opportunities for cooperation in innovation, and I think for both Germany and Japan, with the many talents, but also with the values we share, we really have a great opportunity to move forward together. And we thank everyone for their great contributions to this event, and we hope that we have, together with your great support, have been able to convince you of the benefits of cooperating for the benefit of innovation and progress. And please continue your great work with North Rhine-Westphalia and Japan, and contact us in Tokyo or in Düsseldorf whenever you need us and whenever we can help you write your success stories. Now, I have one request to you. We would like to ask you to all share your video once again. Yes, please come and join us. Thank you so much. Yes, and yeah, we should have actually done this also with our minister, but as you know, politicians are very busy people, and he had to run off to the parliament. But we are very happy to do this for the second part of the summit, and we look forward to working together with you. Yes, Mr. Schwarz, also nice to see you again. And so to every one of you, thank you very much once again. Let me also just come back to my slide share. Here in Tokyo, we are supporting you all with our team of 4 people, Ms. Yagihashi, Mr. Sugizaki, Mr. Kusugi, and myself. Here is what we do to support you, and these are our contacts here in Japan, in English and in Japanese. And of course, we are also very much supported by Ms. Becker, Astrid Becker, General Manager, Asia, Australia, South America, and Mr. Wolfgang Jansen, Head of Business Unit Japan, both in Düsseldorf, and they have been instrumental in arranging today's event and summit. And we thank all participants who prepared this event, but also, of course, the audience. And we are happy to have had more than 220 participants today. And please allow me to thank you once again. Thank you for joining us. Gosecho arigato gozaimashita. And please come again. The next events we have scheduled are on the 1st of July. We will again take up the topic 5G and the digital transformation in industry on the occasion of the Mobile World Congress in Barcelona. And then on the 30th of July, we will have a NRW Global Business Fireplace web talk again, which this time will focus on business and culture. How do we enable international cooperation? What are the do's and don'ts? So thank you once again to everyone, to our audience. If you have any questions with regard to today's presentation, please contact us by mail. We shall forward your questions to the addressees. And also, please note that the presentations shall be available on our website soon. And please go there and have a second look. Thank you so much, and see you soon. Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.